Hi there, I'm Chris Crescent. This is Talking Tsundoku Blues. As the spooky season rolls in, I wanted to talk about death. Junior! Do you know this comic? Death Jr., written by Gary Whitta and drawn by Ted Naifeh, with a cover by Mike Mignola. It's not so much spooky as it is just wacky. What's it all about? Let's take a look. So before I talk about Death Jr., I want to tell you a little story about how I discovered this comic. It all started with a movie called The Book of Eli. Back in 2010, The Book of Eli, starring Denzel Washington, Gary Oldman, Tom Waits. A good post-apocalyptic movie. And I saw the credits. It said, written by Gary Whitta. And I thought, Gary Whitta? Is that the guy from PC Gamer? So in the 90s, I was into PC gaming, and I had a subscription to PC Gamer magazine, and the editor-in-chief at the time for most of my subscription and gaming life was Gary Whitta. And so I decided to look him up. What, he's writing movies now? All right. And I found out, he was working on Rogue One, and he had also written a comic adaptation of a PSP game called Death Jr. Now, I didn't have a PSP, I didn't know anybody who had a PSP, and I didn't know about the game Death Jr., but I thought, that's a cool title, and I want to check that out. And so the hunt began. Now, I love the hunt. I love hunting for random things, obscure things, things that I hope by the time I find them will bring me a lot of joy. And a lot of that joy is in the hunt itself. But in this case, when I finally tracked down the 3 issues to Death Jr., it was worth it. It's geared a little bit toward younger readers, I would say teen or even preteen, maybe late elementary school. It's a lot of good, wholesome fun with a dark humor twist. And it also has literary references to things like Dante's Inferno, Pandora's Box, Moloch, and some of the old biblical stories. But all the same, I enjoyed it. It had kind of a Doug TenNapel vibe. It had kind of a Invader Zim vibe, like Saturday morning cartoons with a black humor twist. And even though it was published in 2005, it kind of reminded me of the 90s somehow. It has like a 90s feel to it. I can't really explain. But speaking of PC games, it actually kind of reminded me of Grim Fandango. And maybe just because the main character's a skeleton? I don't know. And speaking of Grim Fandango and PC Gamer, I actually have the May of 1998 PC Gamer where they review Grim Fandango. And you can see young Gary Whitta there. Prepare your troops for a surface attack. Here, on page 40, look at that. Sorry, it's not a review, it's just the scoop. The creative forces behind Day of the Tentacle and Full Throttle return to bring you an Art Deco epic that will have adventure gamers jumping for joy. But it's 70% complete. Why should I care? It's got the looks, the style, and the gameplay to be a classic adventure. The Art Deco storyline, images, and music are like nothing we've ever seen in a PC game. Yes. Anybody who was gaming in the 90s knows the name LucasArts. And quick plug for Grim Fandango here. Actually, recently, Grim Fandango was remastered, and it's pretty damn good. I played that, and I was just sucked into it all over again. I felt like I was back in the 90s. Hey man, it's the 90s. You gotta love it. In the PSP game, I believe that Death Jr., he's called DJ, is kind of in trouble with his dad, and he is going to be sent to military school if he messes up one more time, so this is like his last chance. And there's this character named Pandora, Pandora, of course, Pandora's box. And Pandora ends up letting out all of these demons all over the town, and then the game is you have to run around and fight the demons and try not to let your dad find out what you're doing. The comic is a little different. The comic is much more silly and wholesome. There's not much violence. It's pretty much just wackiness. First day of school. I can't wait to get there and meet all my new friends. It looks like it's going to be a beautiful day, too. Hey there, little fella. Boy, I tell ya, it's good to be alive. And then even the crow dies. So his mom serves him some breakfast. He doesn't think the cat likes him very much. I thought at first this pet cemetery was full of 5 dead cats, but I think later on it hints that this is the same cat, but it's on its 6th life. So he calls his cat 6 because this is the 6th of its 9 lives. He's eating vampire bites. Where's Dad? Your father had to leave for work early today. He's never here. Well, you know your father, sweetheart. He works very hard. And I love this kind of like nuclear family, kind of 1950s or even 1970s kitchen. My parents had a station wagon that was very similar to this one with like the wood paneling on the side. Guys ordering a huge amount for breakfast, and then the end comes to us all. A little sooner for some, who regularly consume a whole week's supply of cholesterol for breakfast every morning. And that's where I come in. Has a heart attack, crashes his car. Thomas Bellamy. Can I have one of your hash browns? I love that. The humor is so goofy. It's just like, this kind of like puns and just, playing with the idea of the Grim Reaper as, he's kind of a kindly Grim Reaper. He doesn't take any pleasure in killing people, but at the same time, he's very dry about his job. He's just a hardworking dad. And besides, I won't have time to pick up lunch today. I'm already behind schedule. And then Mom's looking out for DJ. Do you have your lunchbox? Yes. Your books? Yes. And then Kitty runs outside and splat. Mommy will take care of it. And then he gets to Alfred Packer Middle School. So then we see the cast of characters who will be coming in and out now and then. And from the left we have Seep. And then we have Stigmartha, or Marty as she's known. Smith and Weston, who are Siamese twins. And Pandora. And they're all kind of thinking that DJ is a freak. Cute. Geez, Pandora, the kid looks like a walking pirate flag. And then Seep talks in the third person a lot of the time, which always makes me laugh. People who live in glass houses, Seep. Huh. Well, the Seepster thinks that this does not augur well. Does not augur well at all. And DJ can't really fit in. There's a bully named Tucker who kind of picks on him. He does befriend Pandora. Everything she touches turns into a big mess. So he helps her open her soup. But then, of course, Tucker comes with the basketball and destroys the lunch. But DJ's got the touch of death, so not to worry, he can protect Pandora for now. And then he invites Pandora to come home with him, and Mom is just fawning over her. You're embarrassing me. Mom, I think your mom is cool. And we find out that DJ is having his birthday on Saturday, and so Mom invites Pandora to the party. But DJ's saying he hasn't made any friends yet. He's a little bit shy. They end up sneaking into his father's office. I love this design, it's so cool. Memento Mori. It's kind of creepy. I know, ain't it cool? I really like this scene where they're looking at his father's scythe. But actually, I was kind of wondering, why doesn't his dad have it if he's at work? It's fine, maybe he has an extra one. But anyway. It's so polished like a mirror. I can see my reflection in it, totally. I really want to try it out. Me too. Those hinges look so well oiled. I bet that door just slides open like a dream. Oh yeah, and wait a minute, what? The cabinet, it's a work of art. I'm not talking about the cabinet, I'm talking about what's inside it. Oh, sorry, I just kinda have a thing for cabinets and chests and caskets, trunks, crates, cartons, all kinds of boxes, I guess. So what is it exactly? Duh, it's a scythe. You use it for reaping crops and stuff. And then, of course, she wants to open it. And as soon as they do, oh man, world's greatest dad. We are so busted. And you think DJ's gonna get in trouble, and maybe he will. But not before Dad kind of pats him on the back for bringing a girl home. Junior, you little devil, only your first day at school and already you're bringing home the ladies. Oh, Dad, don't start, not you too. And then Dad invites her to stay for dinner. Okay, he treats me like a child sometimes, and I wish he was around more, but when I think about it, I have the best dad in the world. Thanks for dinner, your mom's a really good cook. She cremates everything. And your dad is so cool, he kind of reminds me of the cover of a heavy metal album. I wish my dad had his fashion sense. I keep telling him, black is the new black. And so, this is the beginning of a beautiful relationship between Pandora and DJ. And the next day, Tuesday, they are going to the Supernatural History Museum. And so you get to see them go on their little trip in the short bus, which DJ thinks is cool. He thinks it's cool that he and his friends get their own bus, but he doesn't realize that they're the kind of special kids or, the outcasts, literally. I don't want to spoil too much of this, but basically Pandora can't help herself going where she's not supposed to go, opening the vault of the museum, which should remain sealed. And she will end up opening something that will release the big bad, and that will lead to the rest of the issues. The next two issues will be focused on the repercussions of Pandora's curiosity and her helplessness not to open the boxes that she just can't help herself. Let's move on to the second paperback. This one, the cover is not drawn by Mike Mignola. This cover is done by Rode Montijo, but it's still pretty cool. And it picks up basically where we left off at the Natural History Museum, and something strange is going on. Meanwhile, DJ and his friends are at the zoo for his birthday. Pandora lets all the animals out of their cages because she just can't help herself. Skip ahead a little bit here. DJ meets Uncle Mo, who happens to be Moloch, the Ancient One, bringer of chaos and controller of life and death. And he says that he's his uncle. Hey, I'm Uncle Mo. What's up, kid? And starts spending time with his favorite nephew. But of course, things do not go as well as they should. I noticed a couple small mistakes in this issue, especially the twins, Smith and Weston. One of them is a genius, and one of them is kind of a just regular kid, kind of sarcastic. He says, you got the book smarts and I got the street smarts. And they're consistently drawn with Smith, who's the kind of usual street smart guy, with the gray sweater on the left. And Weston is the genius, and he speaks in very complicated, long-winded sentences. And he always has the orange sweater on the right. And it seems like the artist, or probably the editor, whoever was putting this together, sometimes gets them mixed up and kind of flips it. And so Weston, who's supposed to be the genius, will speak just usual kind of regular language, sarcasm. And then Smith, who's supposed to be that guy, will speak in the very long-winded, kind of complicated, using huge vocabulary and sounding very pretentious. And it only happens a couple times, but I was like, come on, in this little volume like this, just, can you get the characters right? I mean, and one other thing that, I'm not sure if this is a mistake, but Seep's transport sometimes has treads and it looks really badass, and other times it has wheels. That didn't really bother me, except for the fact that sometimes it has 4 wheels and sometimes it has 6 wheels. And I thought, at least get the number of wheels right, or maybe show them unhooking him and hooking him on to another thing. When he has to go up the stairs, he uses the treads, but when he's just driving around the school, maybe he's got the wheels. I don't know. I don't know if that's really a mistake or they were just playing around with it, but it seemed also like kind of weird, inconsistent. I don't want to talk about this too much more because I don't want to spoil it. If you are interested in this and you ever want to find it, I don't want to tell you the rest of the story. Suffice to say that there are a lot of complications in the second volume. And in the third volume, everything does wrap up. Even though it's just the 3 tiny paperbacks, the story wraps up. And it doesn't end on a cliffhanger, so you do get a full arc of the story. I do wish it was longer, because it's a lot of fun. But that's all there is. Alright, that's my little video for the little collections of Death Jr. that are written by Gary Whitta and drawn by Ted Naifeh. And the first issue, the cover, was done by Mike Mignola. I'll try to make some more videos if I can about spooky things or horror things. But I just wanted to talk about Death Jr. because I never see anybody talk about this. There's a few people out there who know about the game. The comic, pretty much unknown. So if you like this kind of thing, you know, check it out. Please let me know what your favorite spooky things are. What are you reading, watching, playing in the month of October? And all that's left to say is thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you again.